Family photos coming up and you have no idea what to wear? Let me help. Today we're going to get into what you should wear for your family photos. I feel like this is the question I get asked the most every time someone books a family session. So I'm making this video to help you if you're having a session with me or just like anyone that might be trying to figure out what to wear for their family photos. Okay, before we get started, let's talk about the goal behind your family photos. We have a few things we want to keep in mind. Here's number one. You want to complement each other, but not be too matchy-matchy. Think, I woke up like this, we all kind of look good together, is the vibe you're going for, as opposed to everyone wearing the same color top and the same color pants. That's something that was really popular a while ago, but in these modern days, we like to wear things that are more accidental looking, but still on purpose. It's an art. 2, dress mom first. I think this is a super good tip because mom probably wants the pictures more than anyone else. And so why doesn't she just get to pick what she wears and then we can base everything else around her outfit? I find at a lot of sessions, mom chooses her outfit last because she wants to make sure everyone else is taken care of first. So if we prioritize mom, then that means she looks great and feels great, and it's a great starter for the color palette for your family. 3, let kids be kids. It's not uncommon for kids to want to wear things that you might not want them to wear for photos, but if that means that their moods stay high for the family session, which means that we get smiles, then it might be worth it that your daughter wears her yellow rain boots or your kid wears their crafted bracelet that they got from someone. So let's talk about color palettes. I think this is a great place to start to find the outfits that you want for your family. If you know what colors you're choosing, you can find your pieces a lot more easily. Now, if you're dressing mom first, like I suggested, you can find a color palette based off of perhaps the dress that she's choosing to wear. If she's choosing a floral dress, it might have a variety of colors and you can pull from that to find the colors for the rest of your family. Now, if mom decided to wear something that wasn't a dress and didn't already have a lot of colors, here are my suggestions for you. So neutrals photograph really beautifully, and this goes beyond your general white, black, gray. Those are neutral colors, but I also like to think that colors that have been muted or toned down can also be considered more natural neutrals. So we have sage green, soft blue, kind of a dusty mauve rose. Those can all be really good colors to wear for photos, and they all go really well together. They also look good with nature. Another option is to go for jewel tones. So that would be turquoise, a burgundy, or a mustard yellow. Again, choosing these colors, but maybe a muted down version of them, looks really nice and can blend really well with other colors and still look good with nature. It's always a good idea to add layers and textures. So think about knits, corduroys, denim. All of these things can kind of make everyone look a little bit more natural together. So if someone has a solid color, but it looks like a bit too much, consider adding a jacket, or if they have just plain khakis, switch to something that has a little bit of texture so that the outfit looks a little bit more styled and less just kind of thrown on. Now, of course, as with any fashion advice, there are some things that you want to avoid wearing to your family session. I would steer away from using neon colors. I tend to find them kind of distracting. I also would not use tiny stripes. It's kind of odd, but they can create a weird effect in the camera and not always photograph super well. That's more of a very technical thing. It's not because they don't look good. I love stripes, but they don't always photograph the best. I would also avoid things that are overly trendy if this is a session that you want to have as like something you keep for a long, long time that's going to be on the mantle. If this is something that you do every year and you don't really care, go for it, be trendy, it does not matter. A really important one as well is to avoid logos and graphics. They can be kind of distracting in photos, so if you have a shirt that has like the Nike logo on it or just like it says Patagonia really big, unless that's like the vibe you're going for the session, I would avoid wearing things like that. Also, you might want to consider the location your photos are going to be taken in so you don't match the location too much. Are you going to be in a really green area with green grass and green trees? Maybe don't wear the color green, or if you do wear green, wear a muted tone that can coordinate with that area but not exactly match the colors so you don't blend in. The same goes if perhaps you're going to have photos on the beach. You might not want to wear sand-colored clothing, though I tend to think that white can go really well with sandy beaches. So I can't tell you what to wear because you know what you like to wear, but there are things that tend to look good, so if you want to take this advice, you can, but it is not a rule by any means. So moms, I've already mentioned it, but you cannot go wrong with a floor length dress that is floral, it has colors, it shows movement. You feel like the babe that you are because of this amazing dress. I tend to think they photograph really well, and it's just kind of poetic. I don't know, I like it. Then once you've figured out mom, let's say she's wearing that dress, dad can easily choose a solid colored shirt and then maybe jeans or some chinos. Something a little bit leveled up from, I don't know, khakis or work pants. I would go for something a little bit more styled than that, but it tends to work really well. Now, every family is different. You might not have a mom or a dad present. You might have two dads or two moms. Well, however you do it, just know that coordination is the key, and there are no rules to any of this. It's really about finding what works well for your family and suits your vibe. But also sometimes it's nice to have fun. So if you want to dress up a little more, be a little bit more upscale, don't hold back. Now, when it comes to kids, layers can be really helpful. So you could have a solid colored dress and add a little cardigan on top to add some texture or to add a different color. If they have a multicolored dress, you could leave it as is, so long as no one else in the party is wearing a multicolored floral dress. Same goes for if they're wearing a shirt and pants. So a solid colored shirt and some solid pants are good, but again, keeping those textures in mind is really important. So having denim, having corduroy can be helpful to make it just look a little bit more interesting to the eye. Now, a quick note of practicality for kids. If anyone's wearing a dress, just throw some bike shorts on underneath. We don't want anything showing while they are running and jumping and playing. We don't want them to think about that. We want their minds to be free, and we want your mind to be at rest. So it's an easy thing, have them throw them on, and then you don't have to worry about it. Another tip for practicality is to wear shoes that work for your location. We're gonna talk about locations in another video, but just know that if you choose sandals and your kid does not like their foot being poked by grass and you're gonna have to walk on a grassy trail to get to your photos, you might wanna choose some other shoes. Or think, I'm just gonna have to carry my kid over this grass, down a hill, because they do not like their feet getting poked. So as you're selecting your outfits, something that I find helpful is to either lay all of the outfits out on your bed and take a picture of them so you can kind of compare the different options. You probably don't want your whole family to dress up in those outfits. That would be a lot of work. So just lay them out and take a picture of it. Something I did recently was fill up my Amazon shopping cart, which I thought was actually helpful to help me visualize all of the pieces together since I was buying some things and I didn't have all of them in person. Then once I got them, I could lay everything out and compare. The process I used for my session was I knew I wanted to wear a certain type of blouse, this one actually, and a skirt. And so then that gave me kind of a starting point for the rest of us. We did it here in this living room, and so I knew we had grays, whites, and greens, and I kind of wanted to coordinate with that. So my husband ended up choosing a kind of like lighter sage green sweater to wear, and then he had some, I believe, joggers that he wore with that. And then knowing that those were our colors, I went down to the girls' rooms and kind of shopped their closets to see if there was anything that felt right with that. So one of my girls ended up wearing a white dress with a cream textured cardigan on top, like I mentioned previously, and then my other wore a floral dress. Since none of us really had anything multicolored, it worked. Yeah, we had a couple patterns next to each other, but I think it's still photographed well. And then for my newborn, we just wrapped her in one of her swaddles that worked with the greens that we were wearing already, and it all turned out pretty good. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful for you as you are trying to decide on what clothes for your family to wear at your next family session. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up so I know you like this content. Comment so we can get a conversation going. Maybe this method doesn't work for you, you don't like it, and that's okay. I would love to know what does work for you because it is an art, it's not a science. And as always, subscribe if you like my channel. Thanks for watching.